Morning, everyone.
Hey, Melissa. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good as well. Hi, Rajat. Andres.
Hi, Andres. And Rahat, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Hi, Justin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Justin.
Well, I suppose we can go ahead and get started. More might trickle in as we go on. I anticipated this to be kind of low attendance just because I don't know about you, but I feel like the last 2 weeks were just a blip. But we do have a few items to discuss on our agenda this time around. I went back to our previous meetings and just kind of pulled forward stuff that maybe were loose ends or we didn't quite finish up or maybe have further work to be done. So I'd like to start with that in our open items action section. I'll go ahead and share the notes here. All right, so for the first one, Justin, you sent a link in Slack, right?
Yeah, that's live.
That article that got posted. I don't know if any of you got a chance to look at it or if it's been discussed since it's been posted. I don't know, Justin, have you had anyone reach out to you about it or make any comments?
There's not been a ton of engagement about it. I would certainly be open to that, but
I'm just wondering if there's something more. I'm going to pull it up here so folks can see it. Thanks for posting that. I don't know if there's more we want to do here, more we want to follow up with. I know we had a couple different projects that might be kind of in line with this idea that we had present. We might want to go back and look at that and see, how those fit in.
yeah, so I've talked to the Dagger people about this, and this is different than the thing that they do.
Okay. Yeah,
that's like very focused on like the build process. Was my takeaway.
Yeah, and it's kind of what I got from the last presentation they gave us as well. So yeah, interesting.
And so I think this is basically a format that would feed into something like a Tecton or Kepton or something like that, and then generate a relevant pipeline.
Okay.
But so the program that would parse this and then shove into one of many formats does not exist to my knowledge.
Okay.
And I don't think there's anyone who's like a natural, like, convince them that this is a great idea and work to get this implemented sort of group.
All right. Well, as we move forward here, I'd like to look at this a little bit more. It just seems like there should be something out there or an attempt. And didn't we discuss like Jenkins or something had tried something along this line and abandoned it for one reason or another? I think we still have maybe an action item there to get in touch with someone that has the inside scoop on that.
I think it was Jenkins X. Maybe Ankit could give some historical information why they abandoned the idea.
Okay, maybe we should continue to pursue that, or how do you all feel? Do you feel it's a dead horse and leave it alone for now, or keep going with this?
I think it's reasonable to make go ask the Jenkins X people for their experience.
Okay. Would you like to?
I'm happy to
So
do that
actually-
if someone, I can go look up where they live for Jenkins X people.
I'm from Jenkins X, Rajat.
Ah,
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm currently working on the UI. So I mean, I'm quite new to these things, so it may be something that I don't have much idea about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but,
put a link to chat, Melissa. It was actually Ramin who highlighted Jenkins X. Sorry to interrupt you, Rajat. Ramin Akbari, he said Jenkins X had this.
Okay.
yeah. Version 2 had it, but interop was a problem, so they just picked Tecton as their language. It's the third comment. You scroll down a bit.
Here we go. Okay.
And then Ankit responded with more details as the last. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm remembering. Okay.
Like that feels like a clear interoperability call to action.
Yeah, it feels that way as well.
And CD events might be doing something in this realm. Like the mechanism by which we trigger different families of pipelines, that feels like an event or
Yeah, it's a more, isn't
it's
it? I
close.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's right next to it.
Well, I think I like this idea a lot, this intent-based pipeline. So like whatever way we can continue bugging people about this idea, just, I can be, reaching out to people. If you have people who know, but they are not part of the community, just, I can help you reach out as well.
All right. I would like to fill it out a little bit more too, but I tend to go directly to like the to-do side, the engineering side of it. So, which might be a little cart before the horse, but I would like, I know we discussed in the past of coming up with, maybe more examples of different kinds of pipelines that could be written in this format. You included one in the blog posting that you put out there, Justin, and maybe we can fill that out a little bit more with some of the other ideas that have come up.
Yeah, happy to do that. I think my bandwidth to do more than some documentation is probably not, like I can't found the project that goes and implements this. So I think where
Right.
I'm at.
Right. We need people with time on their hands. Do any of those exist right now? Well, let's keep looking. I'll keep, bringing this up from time to time and see if we can get some more attention and some more interest. And any of you on the call right now or listening to this recording later, maybe you can, reach out to friends and colleagues, see if there's anyone interested in taking something like this on, because I really do think it's interesting. I mean, we're, the very beginning, so who knows how it could turn out, but I like the idea.
One question from me. Sorry, maybe I've not looked into this enough details. I was trying to understand what the user would be of the intent based pipeline. So do you imagine like a platform team that defines the pipeline in this format and then different teams compiling into the format of their preference? Whether if they use Tecton, they would then get a Tecton pipeline. If they use Jenkins pipeline. Or
I was
what
thinking
is
about-
the...
Yeah, I was thinking about it from the perspective of like, when I start a new project and I want to draw a pipeline, I go to the whiteboard and just draw it. And it takes like 10 minutes. And then when I want to go implement it, it takes 2 weeks. And it would be really nice if it was as simple as drawing on the whiteboard. And I think that's possible, but it's maybe not there yet. And so my thought was that maybe a platform team would define the pipeline defaults, and then a team would come in and write this version of things, which is like, here are my specific requirements around, you know, I want to do a build. Here's how you build my thing. You run Maven package. And then after that's done, then we need to deploy it. And I need you to deploy these two places. Here are some gates, quality gates that need to happen. And just have like a really simplistic view of things and not have to get so in the details. As an example, in my world, we do Tecton-based pipelines and Kubernetes stuff, but basically no developer in the company knows how to do Kubernetes. Like, it's super abstracted from them. And so we have UIs to where you can point and click and generate a pipeline. But it would be really nice to have a common data format for that sort of work. Does that
So
make
more
sense?
along the lines of a spec, like describing how something like this could be consumable by multiple tools. I'm imagining just even the hardship it is to move from one tool to another and redo all of your pipelines and re-implement them in a different way. That can be pretty irritating at times.
Yeah.
And the
I
answer
see.
might be that there's no natural user for this because people pick a technology and invest in it, and that's how things work, and that would be fine too.
Yeah, no, I think there may be many different ways to maybe render this high level view into an actual pipeline. So maybe the way you would do it in one company or in one context would be slightly different than the way you do it in a different company. And then if you try to get something in this high level language that allows you to express these differences, you end up getting into something like the Tecton language or the Jenkins language, because you need all these details to be specified somewhere. So that's my concern, but maybe there is something in the middle. Or I was wondering whether, like you said, I draw the pipeline, I put certain constraints or rules there. I mean, the drawing could compile into some kind of structured language, like the one in the example. And maybe there could be a mechanism by which a specific pipeline could be matched to this, at least say, okay, this pipeline actually complies with this format. It would not be compiling into the pipeline, but maybe we could have a mechanism by which you could say, yeah, this pipeline that was developed by this team at least matches this high level definition. But yeah, so that would be something that would need to be designed and on the specific languages, on the Tecton DSL, Jenkins DSL, a way to express the, I guess, the matching. I don't know, just ideas coming to mind.
And something that reminds me of that, although is different and is less interoperable per se, is the GitOps toolkit by Weaveworks. So they've broken it down into your Flux and Flagger, but they have other components, and then you can pick and choose from that. And it is a narrow set of possibilities, but you can pick and choose from that what else you would want. So that seems like it's heading more in this direction.
What was that again, Kara?
They call it the GitOps toolkit, and it's from Weaveworks.
Toolkit from Weaveworks.
Weaveworks.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's in the area. It's not quite what you're talking about, but they are thinking similar thoughts, kind of moving in that direction.
It does feel like every time I've been involved in implementing a pipeline and different tools, it just feels like we're starting to get to a point where everyone is, using YAML, describing these steps in certain ways. Seems like we're starting to, come down on a common definition across the board. So you can look at a YAML file and everyone understands what it means. Maybe we're so close to that that's why no tool exists or no spec exists. I don't know, but I think it'd be cool to define one, and future tools doing this can consume that. Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else to say about that or comment about that? Any more action items we need to take on this? For now, anyway. Okay. All right. Moving on. One thing I might do is pull that article up and maybe tweet about it or write a follow-up or something like that. See if we get any more attention. Put that in there. All right, next one we have on our list. Oh yes, determining where in the best practices site to add vocabulary documentation. So we might want to switch these items, right? Fatih, is there still some outstanding stuff that needs to happen with the vocabulary documents as it is? Or are we, I know there was a split that was done, correct?
Yeah, the split was done, but the supply chain stages, that PR hasn't been merged yet, and David Banduri actually commented it during this week, I think, so that needs some work. But we don't have to wait for supply chain stages. We can start looking into the existing stages, and Mary documented there.
Okay, just
Yeah,
for
pipelines terminology.
this one, pipelines terminology.
That one, yeah.
Okay, just to catch everyone else up, we originally have this vocabulary document. It was decided to split it up into two different documents, tools terminology, pipelines terminology. You think that tools terminology is in a state that can be posted somewhere useful? Yeah, it looks like. Were there any outstanding, sorry, I'm scrolling so fast. Any outstanding items there to address?
Yeah, the harness was like the triggers was added with the latest pull request. Yeah.
Oh,
That
awesome.
is-
Okay.
Yeah. And also David Banduri, again, he was going through these documents and he added this operations stage. And I believe, Justin, you had some comments there to his PR.
Yeah, his he wants to add a stage which basically amounts to the deploy is done and we're just monitoring / waiting for the next deploy to happen, like the steady state.
Okay.
Fine, yeah, it's good.
All right. All right, so we just need to push this in then. Okay, that wasn't exactly the topic I was trying to talk about, but it's
Yeah.
in the right direction.
Just to give you a historical context about this tools terminology or why we collected, because like when we first formed the interoperability SIG, we were like, okay, what is the purpose of this SIG and so on, and we kind of said, let's start documenting some popular tools terminology to highlight the problem. We can't even use the same words to describe same things. So that's how it started. And whether if this would be useful to edit on best practice side, I'm not so sure. Like the stages terminology makes sense, but the tools terminology may not, because it's tool specific.
This is too specific for the best practices site. Okay, let's just pull that up, take a look at it real quick. This is what it looks like right now. There's various places we could put something like, you know, terminology information. Maybe under resources, would that be something, you know, even though it's specific, might work better in this area?
Yeah, it would, I mean, it would either go under learn or resources for sure. And learn is maybe under active development and stuff.
Yeah.
Having
Okay.
the vendor related things on a best practices site feel like, is that really the best spot for that? Is
Okay.
that the question I would ask? Like, what are the steps one could have in a pipeline feel totally like they should be here? What does Argo CD call this? Like, is like less
But
clear
still
to me, but
useful,
open
you know?
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe we stick it here and then we find a better place for it later if we feel like we need one.
Andrea pointed out maybe learn is a better place for this, or another option, since
So what's the concern with keeping it where it is I guess one question I have. Just visibility?
yeah, I think visibility, I mean, it's sitting in a GitHub repo, in order, you know, it just seems like it'd be better consumed elsewhere.
I buy that.
And maybe linked from best practice side rather than embedding the tool specific stuff there. It could be, you know, like let's say just making things up, like we start adding the stages and steps terminology into best practice side. And if like people see, okay, this stage or step, I don't know what this corresponds to in Jenkins or Argo CD, and there could be a section there, all the tools call these things differently. And here is the current mapping of these different terms redirecting to our repo. Because as Justin says, like putting vendor specific stuff direct as is under best practice may not be received well. I don't know.
Maybe just linking to it, maybe like maybe in the learn section, like a references section. We could just add a link back.
Yeah.
Take a look at that again. Oops.
I mean, in any case, the discussion will continue with the best practices SIG, I guess. So like, yeah, we could do a PR and then just get feedback on it as well.
Yep, I like it. Let's do that. Anyone want to take that on just to open a PR with a link, perhaps? We can start there. Going once.
I can make the PR.
Okay. All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm just going to add a section here. New action items. Okay, Next, I think we already talked about the vocabulary split kind of, and any conflicts and outstanding PRs. We can let that sit for review.
I think getting things into a centralized linkable place for that for vocab will be like a natural point where everyone converges. I think that'll be nice.
Agreed. Okay. Next we have, scheduling presentation time. So we had the new project Go SEM show some interest. There was some emails going back and forth with them about scheduling a time, getting them involved with setting up a presentation. I have not heard back yet when would be available, but they haven't had a lot of time to think about it. So I've given them the possible dates, I believe the 15th of September or the first meeting in October. We can continue on that conversation as we get more information. Same with the FRSCA. I did send out a question to Tim Miller. He was the one who presented it last time at our meeting. And I haven't heard back from him yet, but same story. He hasn't had much time to think about it. So it's possible we may have some more presentations lined up here soon. In the meantime, Andres was here and he was going to go ahead and present JReleaser. Do you want to just give a little blurb about it really quick? And
yes,
we can
thanks,
start.
Melissa. Just a couple of words about it. If some of you write Go code, you may be familiar with a tool called GoReleaser, which allows you to publish Go binaries in through many different package managers, create Git releases, and so many other things. JReleaser, on the other hand, is kind of a similar tool, but works for any other kind of source language. It began live in the Java space, but it can do so same things for Rust, JavaScript, or anything, you name it. So that's the reason why I would like to talk about this tool, because, well, if you're building binaries or just creating Git releases on the go, on a pipeline, I mean, the tool can just do the work.
I've taken a look at it too and seen a couple presentations now by Andres and other conferences and stuff. And it looks really interesting and also deals with, things you don't think about necessarily, like posting your updates, letting everyone know a new release is available. Those kinds of things that are, we all just kind of do manually and on the side. So that's what I really like about this project. There's a lot in there that, handles things we do on the day-to-day that we just haven't really automated in any way yet. So pretty cool, excited for that presentation. That'll be on September 1st, our next meeting. And then we can have an open discussion about it. So start tweeting about it. I'll put some stuff out on social media, get some interest, see if we can get some folks to come watch that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Andres. All right. And then Kara, we had a meeting at the TOC last week or was it this week? I'm losing time now. Someone brought up that we have yet to change our branch default names from master to main. And that's something that we just kind of, want to get moving on across the board. So we took the first step. Kara went ahead and got our SIG GitHub repo set up for that. It's pretty cool. It's all been changed. It looks like everything is working. Every time I've clicked on a link, even in the past that, had master in it, there's some redirects going on that sends you to main. So that works out really nicely. So far, I haven't seen anything, but, keep your eyes open for any broken links or anything that might surprise us.
Yep.
Anything else?
No,
Yeah.
just quick thank you to the Interop SIG, because you all have volunteered to be our first SIG to do this shift. GitHub does the redirects automatically, so there hopefully won't be any trouble. The only thing potentially is HackMD, so we will find out today. But thank you very much. It's great.
Oh, Good. I'm glad you said that. I did like a git pull and a git push and stuff from HackMD in order to update our notes on the GitHub site. And it gave me a warning first thing saying branch doesn't exist, but it was really easy just to change it right then and there. And then I haven't had to do that again. So it
Awesome.
worked out very well. And it looks like it was successfully put our notes on the GitHub page where it belongs. So
Good.
worked great.
Awesome.
All right. All we have left, future topics for the interoperability SIG. Justin reached out and asked, what else do we have to talk about? Are there any other avenues that we want to go down? Anything that we want to start working on? And he's suggested that, maybe speaking to the projects that are in the CD Foundation, asking if there's any specific interoperability issues that have come across there. Would we like to start there and do that? Or does anyone have any ideas that are coming to them right this minute that you'd like to share? Or we can continue this discussion on Slack as well.
No direct ideas at the moment. My feeling is that a lot of these meetings, the interop meetings, are check out this really cool tool, which is awesome. But there's not a lot of talk about actual interop stuff that we're not solving interoperability problems. And that might be because we don't have any, which would be awesome. But I suspect there might be one or two.
Yeah, how can we pull these out from other projects? Again, I think about, I go immediately to implementation just because that's how my mind works. And I wonder if are there any challenges we can put to the group, like trying to combine different projects, maybe we have the whole best practices effort going on right now for making a spec for pipelines, basically. Is there a way we can jump in and maybe discover interoperability problems, things that we've forgotten since the last time we tried to put a bunch of tools together? Maybe there's some kind of, this is crazy, but maybe some kind of event we could pull off, or we could have a hackathon that gives people challenges to put stuff together and observe, see what happens. There's all kinds of ideas we can do. It's just a matter of getting people involved and getting the time and bandwidth, of course, to do something like that. Let's take your suggestion, Justin, first, and reach out to the projects that we have and just see if we can, get any ideas from there. If there's anything that needs addressing that has popped up in the, last few months that would fit. I think that's a good idea, good place to start.
Pati, is there a place where I can send an email or something similar that will reach the inbox of all of our projects? Or can I draft an email and maybe you have that power? I don't know.
Lori actually attempted something similar. She has the maintainers of all our projects, the list. So we can perhaps look at that, and then we can reach out to those individuals from projects. But I think we have Andre here and Ankit, as we discussed. He could join our meeting to give background about their DSL stuff. And for others, yeah, I can definitely help you with that.
Awesome.
Can you action me, Melissa?
Yeah.
I think probably the action's on me to give you the thing to tell people.
It may be better you reach out to them, Justin, as SIG Interop co-chair, rather than me
Yes.
saying,
Very happy to. Just I need to
Yeah.
know where.
yeah,
So
yeah, I can pass the names and contact names. They are probably in our Slack as well, all of those individuals. So I will do that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. As you find things or come up with ideas, let's put them in the Slack channel and get an open discussion going. There's a lot of members in there that are not in this meeting today. So I'm sure there's a lot of ideas that could be floating out there we just aren't hearing today. So let's start that. I'll take that on just to start the conversation. All right. Anything else on the top of your mind, Kara? Yes.
Yes. Actually, I would love feedback from you all on this. Tim Miller, this is what made me think of it when you're talking about Fresca. He put an interesting issue in the CDF landscape repo, saying one of the categories that's not on the landscape that we may want to consider is something he called it abstractions, which is really hard to figure out what that would be from that title, but from his suggestions, I understand what he means. I put the link in our chat right here to the issue he raised, but he said we should have a category for things like Fresca and Dagger that are working at maybe more of a higher level. And I just feel like that's, they're both using Q. He's not wrong with what they do, and it would be interesting. How would we conceive of that category, and what should we name it? And it's right in the space of interoperability. So.
And to bring that up so we can look at it real quick. I remember seeing this come through. Oh,
I think
didn't copy, did it? Let me try again.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, yeah. So I
really like this category idea.
Mm-hmm. And it is something that is happening in our space around interoperability. It's this idea of like, oh, where is interoperability going in CI/CD? And I feel like this category kind of gives an indication.
Yep.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, abstraction is the word is a bit too vague, but what else is there?
Like the thing that I would call this is higher level abstractions, but that would imply that things like Tecton are low level, which is
right.
Doesn't sound true. I don't think there's a better word for that.
I know, it's really hard. Yeah, but when you first hear, oh, the category abstractions, you're like, what would that be exactly? And then you see it and you're like, okay, I see what it is. But
yeah,
I guess it's kind of a new thing, and that's maybe why we don't have an industry term for it, really.
Yeah.
We need a brand new word.
it's like a mechanism for dealing with aggregates, like dealing with multiple backends, but multiple implementations. It's an abstraction. That's the word for it.
Yeah.
Like if someone told me what this was, I would be like, oh, an abstraction.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously what he's thinking too. So
we can always change the name later.
Yeah, I mean, we can, for sure. But I'm happy to talk more with you all about it, and do jump on the issue. And I mean, you can say, actually, this is the best name we can think of, maybe higher level abstractions, but it's, yeah, is that necessary? Caveat for this word. Yeah.
You're right, Justin, we could change it later. So let's give ourselves a deadline on coming up with a new word. and just move forward with it if we can't think of anything else. And then we might get some more feedback saying this is a ridiculous name. It should be, you know, something that should have been obvious to all of us. I like it. I like that plan. What do you say?
And so that plan is we add this category with those two initial projects to the landscape, and we leave open a name change. We just put a comment
Yep.
on it, like this is actually the best name we can think of, and it's, you know, does capture it. But if anyone thinks of something else as we move forward, we can always change it.
Yep, I like it.
Okay.
I like that idea. Now, to include Dagger, has anyone reached out to them already, or have they asked to be added to the landscape? If not, I could.
Yeah, I've spoken with the Dagger folks.
So you have a logo
In
and everything.
general. Yeah, I mean, I can, but yeah, I can reach out to them for the logo. And they don't have to be the ones who do the addition, but yeah, I mean, we need their logo, we need their info, so it's good to let them know.
Awesome. Okay, great. Let me put the right link in the notes. Cool. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's nice to see that landscape get filled up with new items.
Yeah. And I figured this is the group that would be have the most interest and context around that category too, you know, like it's right in our space of interoperability. So.
Yep. All right. Any other last items? If not, I think we can give everyone a little bit of time back today. And between now and next meeting, get involved in this conversation on Slack about ideas for the future. Again, I'll reach out, you know, regarding more presentations and stuff. I did ask, you know, it came up whether or not it makes sense to do more than one presentation during the meeting. And I think Cara made a point that no, we shouldn't do that. It's because we want to leave enough time for open discussion and everything after, and then for any other open items that we need to talk about as well. So we'll keep that limit to one at a time. I didn't want to schedule one today just because I knew, you know, so many people were out, and August is just not the best month, but we'll get on the ball with it starting September. All right. Good to see you all as always. I'll see you next time, September 1st.
Good. See you all in September. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.